I know we spend a lot of time in this office. Due to the quarantine, won't be here very often for a while. I thought it'd be cool in this vlog to introduce you to a few key characters that help make this vlog, which this office helps make, if that makes sense. A key part of my office that you are already familiar with is the couch. I'm having difficulty remembering exactly how I got this couch, but my father-in-law had it for a little bit, then I have it, and it's been circulating through different offices, through different work environments, and obviously it's missing a part of it, but this couch has been in my possession for a long time and has a lot of sentimental value. You probably have never seen these in the vlog, but these are in my office and they sit on the bookshelf right behind me. My mom's first cousin, which I think makes him my second cousin, Robert Gallery, played in the NFL for a number of seasons, and these were some gloves he used when he was playing with the Oakland Raiders against the Denver Broncos on a very snowy night. I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember the Raiders won, I believe it was 24-22, and after that game, he gave me these gloves that he wore in the game. Pretty cool. Thank you, Cousin Robert. You've seen this before, but this is very special to me. This was the very first teapot that I ever got. I got it in a small town in Germany called Garmisch. I think it cost me like 40 euro, which is like 60 or 70 US dollar, but this is my first official teapot. As you know, tea is a key part of my life. This here is my whiteboard where I put stuff on. I'll do prayer requests, I'll do to-do lists, all kinds of things, pictures. You've seen a few things up here on the vlog before. Actually, the very first vlog when we went through the creation narrative in Genesis. This is where I wrote all of those really awesome drawings about the creation story. This is something that I received recently, as in like a couple years ago, but there's some t-shirts here. Okay, so this t-shirt, it says Cornerstone Church, Northwest Detroit. This is a church in Detroit, Michigan. We went there on a mission trip about 2 years ago, and just an awesome church. If you're in the Detroit area, you're looking for a church to plug into, to be a part of, check them out. They are just fantastic. Yeah. Here is my bookshelf. These are the only bookshelves I have in my office. I feel like an office for someone that works at a church, like a pastor, they have tons of like bookshelves, but I just have these few here. I have a lot of my stuff online, but there's something that is really important to me in this bookshelf. So this was made for me, says the Gregg Dictionary, shortly before I left Rocky Mountain, and this is just a few of the students in the youth group that made a dictionary of Goyo's Diccionario of Christianese words. Phrases, things that I would say while I'm teaching, or things of that nature that they decide to make a dictionary out of. Beans, slang for edible tree nuts. Doodaloo, the phrase one utters while searching for a specific Bible passage. Soffle, a souffle commonly found at Panera Bread, although often mispronounced. Sweet jazz, something that is swell, interesting, or enjoyable. There are a lot of other phrases in here, but yeah, this is a very prized possession to me. Welcome. It's day 84, and we're looking at the last 5 chapters in the book of Joshua. Chapter 20 talks about all the cities of refuge that are both on the west and the east side, amongst the people of Israel. In case someone who kills someone accidentally, they can go to this city and they can find safety there. Then chapter 21, it details all of the land, the cities that are given to the tribe of Levi. Remember, the Levites, like, their inheritance was with the Lord. They had a very specific job in the midst of the people, but they were given certain cities and certain pieces of land throughout the entire kingdom. And so chapter 21 details all those places that belong to the tribe of Levi. And verse 43 through the end of the chapter is just wonderful, because this is really the wrap-up of the allotment and the distributing of the land. And we've been talking about this for the last couple of days in the vlog, but I want to read these verses. It says, "Thus the Lord gave to Israel all the land that he swore to give to their fathers, and they took possession of it, and they settled there. And the Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their fathers. Not all of their enemies had withstood them, for the Lord had given all their enemies into their hands. Not one word of the good promises that the Lord had made to the house of Israel had failed." That's awesome. All came to pass. God fulfilled his promise completely, fully, 100%ly. Then chapter 22 is the warriors from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh. They return to the east side of the Jordan, to their families, to where they're camped out. And there's an interesting story in chapter 22 where these 2.5 tribes, they built an altar near the Jordan on their side, and all of the other tribes hear about this, and they're furious. Like, they're getting ready to go and attack these 2.5 tribes, because they're like, how could you guys build this altar, thinking that that was an altar used to not worship God, but to worship some other god. And when they come to these 2.5 tribes, they realize that they were actually building this altar as a witness, or as a way, as an altar of remembrance to their generations that are to come. That even though they're not on the west side of the Jordan, that they still have a portion of the inheritance that the Lord gave to Israel as his whole people. It was kind of meant to teach the people that they weren't isolated from their brothers. And so they find that out and they're like, cool. So if ever you hear someone say something or see someone doing something, it's important to go to them and ask them about it. Don't just speculate on your own and come up with your own ideas. Just go ask them about it. Then 23, Joshua gathers all of the leaders of Israel, and he's very old at this point and getting ready to die, and gives them one last final charge. And that charge is to follow all that is in the law, all that is in the book that is written that God had given to his people. And essentially the heart of following that and obeying the Lord is we are fully devoted to the Lord, and we're not going to let anything other than God influence the way that we live. That anything that is not of God, that is a foreign God, that is of another people, we're going to put away. We're not going to have it in any part of our life. And that's the encouragement that he gives the leaders to walk in as he's getting ready to die. Then chapter 24, basically the first 13 verses is a history lesson from Abraham all the way to where they're at now, showing God's faithfulness, showing God how he kept his promise to his people. And that was to then give credence to the renewal of this covenant, or the making of this covenant, that the people would serve God and no other God. And the people, they make this covenant with Joshua and say that we too will serve the Lord. And but there are repercussions, he says. If you don't serve the Lord, you will be scattered. You will serve other nations. These other nations won't be serving you. And then the book wraps up with Joshua's death and his burial. There was a lot going on in these last 5 chapters, and I think it probably would have been good to have separated some of this so that we could go over it in detail. But I can't help but talk about the importance of chapter 24 and the encouragement from Joshua to the people to serve the Lord. As created beings are always serving something. And another way we might define this word serve here is really worship. What is it that we're making our life about? What is it that we want to make a big deal out of? And we are always worshiping something. There is not a moment in our life when we are not worshiping something. And because of that, we are challenged with the struggle of not worshiping things, but rather worshiping God. There are some very insidious types of gods that we are tempted to worship in this time. The god of entertainment. Once again, these like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Hulu, all these different things are awesome, but we can't let those things feed our appetite that only God can satisfy. In terms of, Lord, we find our fulfillment in you. We don't find our fulfillment in being entertained on a consistent basis. I think that's why the whole idea of binging things is so interesting, that we binge stuff because we're trying to get more, because it doesn't really completely fully satisfy us. We get through one TV show and we think during that TV show, once it's over, I'll be good. I'll be done. But then after that TV show's over, you find another one like, oh, no, after that one, then I'll be done binging stuff. No. It's a constant cycle, and the Lord is the only one that truly satisfies. So I ask you today, not who is it that you're going to serve, because I know your answer, but rather who is it that you are serving?